just go.
Come sit right here. We got a front row seat to the things you fear. The Maybe Show. Let's talk paranormal. Mr. Phoenix Nicole. We go where the dark is normal. The Maybe Show. Say it loud, say it slow.
And don't forget, let's talk paranormal.
Hey, it's that Friday, and Nicole is spinning on around and around. It's all good. She'll be here soon. All right, everybody, we've got a great show on Let's Talk Paranormal. We have a wonderful. There she is. She's back. Woohoo!
You talking about me?
Yeah, you're back.
It keeps getting frozen.
Uh-oh. All right, well, let's welcome our wonderful guest, Rachel Stephenson. I believe I said that right. I hope I didn't chop it. Did I chop it up?
Stevenson.
Stevenson. Yes. And here she is.
Hi.
All right. So let's just get the first thing over. Everybody wants to know, and when people get into paranormal and stuff like that, like I told you, I'd probably repeat it. What kind of got you into the paranormal?
So it wasn't anything that I chose necessarily, but it's just from my experiences, from childhood. And, looking back, I really didn't understand what it was, only in hindsight and later in life as other abilities started to open that I was able to kind of understand what it was that I was experiencing and like what it was meant for, what I was supposed to do with it. So that's how it came about. It wasn't really that I pursued any kind of like education or anything like that. I've definitely had paranormal experiences like from when I was young. So
Right.
yeah.
So what kind of experiences did you have when you were young?
Well, one of the first that I can remember, my family moved into a new place, a new house, and I was really young. I was like 6 years old, and I started noticing weird things. The one that sticks out is that I saw a photograph move from the table in one room to the table in the other room, from like the living room to the kitchen.
Oh, wow.
So at that point, I was terrified. And I remember, when you're a kid, you don't know what to do. And I was like looking for a place to hide. I was like hiding behind, it's so silly. But when you're that young, no one believes you either, most of the time, and
Right.
it's understandable. I get it. So I had little experiences like that. So the house had a ghost there. It was haunted. And so from that point on, I started having other, experiences. A lot of it was just knowing and feeling like a presence was there. Um, so that's really like the first experience that I had. And then later on, it was other things that didn't have anything to do with that house or that spirit.
Okay. So on the flyer, we were putting stuff, and because I was asking you what to put and stuff, and you have Exorcist.
Yes.
How many have you done, and wasn't that scary?
So I, through the process of like experiencing what it is to have certain psychic abilities and, um, how I'm able to use them and things like that, uh, came the ability to hear spirits.
Okay.
So that is actually your throat chakra. So that, the chakras are connected to psychic abilities. And what that really means, the chakras, if you're familiar with what those are wheels of energy. they're vortexes of energy.
Okay.
And when a particular chakra opens, it is basically just allowing you to interpret or process energy that maybe somebody else isn't able to interpret. You're more sensitive to energies. So the throat chakra is clairaudience, so it's psychic hearing. And
Okay.
it's different. It can be different for everyone. There are different frequencies of energy you might be able to interpret. It just depends on what your kind of ability set is, what you're meant to do with that set of abilities. But mine all have to do with spirits.
Okay.
So as this ability opened, and I'm able to now have a conversation with spirits, just like you and I are talking. That's how I
Okay.
talk to spirit. Um, I was able to learn a lot more things about my abilities and what I'm supposed to do with them. Um, Exorcist, I use that term as a way to explain that I'm able to remove spirits from people, places, or things.
Hmm.
I'm able to remove them where they don't belong.
Right.
But what I'm actually doing is a lot more than that, which I'm not just moving them from one place to another. I'm not like releasing them, you know, in the world or whatever. But what I'm doing is I'm actually dispersing them. So if they are a wicked soul, wicked spirit, you might think of that's kind of what we think of whenever we hear the term exorcist or
Yeah.
exorcism. I'm actually dispersing that spirit. So I'm not just removing them. But, I use exorcist as a term that people are familiar with. So um, before I was able to do that, I um, realized I was able to cross ghosts over. So I'm doing much more than just communicating or talking to spirits.
Uh-huh.
So I'm actually able to send them home.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, on. You got a curious on something, Nicole? Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Is she frozen?
I think so. I think
Oh,
Nicole
no.
froze. Uh-oh. Okay. So tell us a little bit. A couple of stories you said we were talking about.
Yeah. So, I mean, the stories I have, as I was starting, like this throat chakra was starting
Uh-huh.
to open, if anyone has had the experience of like chakras opening or expanding more as they do, um, it was such an intense feeling, such like pressure. It almost felt like my throat was being crushed.
Oh, wow.
And it would go on for a couple hours at a time, probably over the spans of like a
Oh,
month or so. Oh, hi.
hi.
um, but that's kind of what that felt
I don't
like
know.
as that was opening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when it finally opened enough to where sound was coming through, like I was hearing voices, at first it was almost like you would think of like tuning a radio, like it's not quite in tune and you're kind of trying to focus it, but it would come in like broken
Oh, wow.
patterns, broken, yeah. And so it was a lot of, trying to understand what was actually happening. I kind of knew what was happening, what was going on and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of how it began, my first experiences. When the voice actually came through clear enough that I can hear, like, oh, it's a male's voice,
Mm-hmm.
which um, I was expecting it to be a female voice because I was expecting it to be my spirit guide.
Right.
And so I can explain kind of what spirit guides are in a minute. But when the
Okay.
voice came through, it was a male voice. And I didn't know who it is. So of course I'm going to ask, like, who are you?
Right.
And he told me his name, and he was a demon.
Oh, wow.
So from the beginning, and even back further, the experiences that I had as a child, um, I've had a lot of like experiences with demons, and my abilities, like being an exorcist, have
Uh-huh.
specifically to do with demons.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like a lot of my stories.
Were they okay? So with working with I wouldn't say like I guess working with, but like dealing with
Yeah,
the demons, was that like what we've been taught all our years, that they are that evil and bad and everything?
yeah, yeah. And on top of that, they're actually really powerful.
Ooh.
So, it's a bad combination. Um, yeah, so that's kind of how when I was younger, when I was about 9 years old, I started having a lot of clairvoyant dreams. So, and they were always nightmares. They were
Uh-huh.
always about demons. And I was a kid, I didn't understand where it was coming from or why. Because, a lot of times our dreams are nonsense and we dream about like our day or, whatever. So it was like, well, I didn't watch anything. I had pretty strict parents. They didn't watch horror. We weren't allowed to watch horror as kids. And I
Right.
had no idea where it came from or why. Couldn't understand it. And I had those dreams for quite a number of years. And in hindsight, I realized they were clairvoyant dreams,
Hmm.
which means a clairvoyant dream is something that's like very hyper realistic. So they're a little bit different than like a normal like nonsense dream. They're hyper realistic, but clairvoyant dreams are dreams that have a specific purpose to communicate a message, and they're usually from your spirit guide. And
Right.
so I realize now that a lot of what I have, my skill set or my abilities have specifically to do with demons. And that was kind of like part of my training or part of me understanding, what it was that I was going to be doing, involved in, and kind of preparing me for that because that's what your guide does.
Okay.
Your guide leads you. A spirit guide, I'll explain what that is that
Okay.
everyone has a spirit guide. Your spirit guide is someone that is literally connected to you, like a cord of energy that connects you.
Okay.
And they are meant to guide you through your lifetime, whatever your purpose is, through the
Right.
lessons you're meant to learn, the people you're meant to meet, the things you're meant to accomplish. So, um, yeah, that's your spirit guide. Your spirit guide is always someone that you know, but
Hmm.
not from this lifetime.
Interesting.
So, in other words, as human souls, we incarnate into multiple lifetimes.
Okay.
And right now, this is almost like a side mission. What we're doing right now is kind of like a side mission in like the whole scheme of things.
Okay.
So, and we'll do it several times. The point of the lifetime, the cycle of lifetimes is to learn lessons, to gain, character, to become something more than we would be able to become without having those experiences. And then, you know, to accomplish a purpose,
Mm-hmm.
we have to be prepared, just like you go to school, you have to learn lessons to understand, to, be able to function in life and prepare you for what you might do after you graduate school.
Right.
So, a spirit guide is someone who you've had previous lifetimes with, you're connected with, like maybe was your mother in a previous lifetime, maybe was your best friend in a previous lifetime, right? So they have like a connection with you, but they already ended their lifetimes. It ended its cycle, but you're not done yet. So now they're going to go on to do the thing that they're meant to do, and that's
Mm-hmm.
part of that is to help you until you
Okay.
get through your cycles. So that's kind of what spirit guides are.
Okay. So we've got a question in the comments actually.
Mhm.
How do you connect with them within us? Is what it was written.
Are we talking about spirit guides?
I think so.
Well, I think so I'm able to hear spirits. Whenever I'm around spirits, I feel them, I can hear them. We have a conversation. Just like, we're talking right now. That's how
Mhm.
I hear them. So there's no more like there's nothing else needed for connection other than I'm able to interpret the energy of thought.
Okay.
So whenever they're speaking to me or I'm speaking to them, it isn't necessarily the sound of voice, but it's thought. It's the energy of thought because thoughts are energy,
Mhm.
emotions are energy. So, yeah, that's how we communicate. But I hear the
Okay.
voice just like we're speaking.
Right on. So I got a message on the rain. We're having a lot of storms here in Florida,
Oh,
and the rain and her Wi-Fi is getting kicked off and on. So she wanted me to apologize and say she's sorry.
oh,
She
that's okay. I saw that she disappeared.
yeah. So so how would you go about getting rid of a demon?
So, yes, what I'm able to do is disperse them.
Okay.
So, you might think of that as like death for a spirit.
Okay.
But as we know, everything is energy.
Hmm.
Energy cannot be destroyed, but it can be dispersed,
Gotcha.
which is literally like the pulling apart. You pull it apart. But there are things that someone can do if they are having issues with a demon attachment, or, sometimes people are visited by demons,
Hmm.
and that is because demons feed off of energy.
Oh
They
yeah.
feed off of the energy of the soul, right? Because the soul is energy. And there are definitely things that someone can do. Um, so the things that I have found to work most effectively are,
Okay.
I'll give you a list
All right.
if anybody wants to know.
All right. We've got some.
Okay, so holy water, it does
Okay.
work. Very limited, for about as quick as the time as it takes to dissipate off the skin.
Hmm.
That's about how long it's effective for. Oils last longer on the skin. I got to think about what they are now. It's wormwood oil, artemisia, and mugwort. Those oils specifically. Those two oils and holy water, they make you taste terrible. You
Okay.
taste like garbage, like you're putrid. And hopefully that's enough for them to leave you alone.
Okay.
Um, what I have found to be more effective than those, though, are crystals.
Okay.
So the ones that work the best would be black tourmaline and malachite.
Okay.
So black tourmaline, for anybody who's familiar with like the property of crystals, black stones are always known as protection, and that's how it works. It's a protection. However, of all the black stones, it's black tourmaline. That's what you want. And it is protection. So it's almost like it turns your energy,
Hmm.
you know, into like armor.
I could. That would be cool. I could see.
Yeah.
I could see.
Yeah, and malachite is a green stone, but that has a similar effect as like what the holy water and the oils do. They just make you taste terrible. But the benefit of those is that if you wear them
Hmm.
like a piece of jewelry, then you can keep it on you. So it's not something that can dissipate off the skin. So if you have trouble with spirits, black tourmaline and malachite.
Okay. So can you make a instead of holy water, can you do like a holy oil and be the same concept of and working?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. Now, the holy water I've used, I haven't made it. I just use what I obtained.
Right.
But oils work too. Oils, they don't disappear off the skin quite as fast. They last a little bit longer, but not very much. So if you're someone that genuinely is experiencing issues, um, get crystals.
Crystals.
Get
Okay.
crystals, yeah. And keep them on your skin, on your body.
Okay. So make like a necklace or maybe in your pocket or something like that.
Yeah, I would do like wear a pendant, a ring, something.
Okay.
Something, yeah.
We've got a question, and it is demons have stronger energy than spirits.
Well, demons are a spirit.
Okay.
But there's definitely, that's actually a really good question. There's definitely a big difference between the strengths of different spirits. So, for instance, ghosts, which are
Mhm.
human souls. So, when we're talking about ghosts, we're talking about human souls only, which is like grandma, grandpa, your aunts, your uncles, your best friends, right?
Right.
They're human souls. They're they have very low energy. They're very weak energy. And then above that would be demons. So demons they are very powerful, but there's much more powerful spirits than they are. Some demons are more powerful than others. It just depends too. But yes, to answer your question, they are powerful and they're not kind. They're not
Okay.
kind.
So have you ever channeled,
I
like
don't.
actually spoke for them?
No. So I don't channel. And I don't recommend anybody do that because what you're doing is you're actually opening yourself up to be kind of controlled by
Yeah.
a demon. I know there are channelers. As a medium, my ability is much more direct than that.
Okay.
So I just talk to them. I don't need to speak, they tell me what they want to tell me. So yeah, I do. I speak to them directly, but I don't channel them. If somebody wants to know something, I can ask. you know, that's just
Nice.
how that works. Yeah.
Um, do you I noticed the board. Do you believe that the Ouija board is evil as people freak out on?
No, there's so many horror movies about this. No, the spirit board is just a tool.
Right.
So it's not any more evil than like a screwdriver is.
That's understandable.
Yeah. So it's just a tool for spirit communication, just like a pendulum is a tool for spirit communication. If you can see it. There's just
Mhm.
not that many, not really any horror movies about pendulums.
I could probably see or think of some ideas for it, but yeah.
Yeah. The biggest difference is when anyone is interested in learning about spirit communication or connecting to spirits, I always recommend a pendulum.
Mhm.
It's something you can do on your own. So the spirit board isn't really something you can do on your own, but it is a direct communication with your spirit guide specifically. So your spirit guide is somebody like they're on your side. They're your best friend. You just aren't aware of it.
Right.
That's who you want to talk to. Whenever you use a spirit board, okay, and you spin the planchet, right?
Mhm.
What this is doing is opening a portal.
Creating energy in a circle.
Yeah. So you open a portal and
Interesting.
whatever's on the other side of that portal, you don't know what it is, can see through, right? They can see
Mhm.
you. You may not be able to see them. Um, and they could choose to come through or not. So
So
you don't know what it is you're getting into. That's the difference. And not
so
everybody's equipped to deal with
uh-huh.
whatever comes through.
So they're not 100% accurate then.
Well, it's not a matter of whether they're accurate or not. It's a matter of like, are you able to deal with whatever spirit decides to come through and talk to you?
Okay.
I have done a lot of spirit board seances, and back years ago when I was newer at it and I didn't have as many experiences.
Hmm.
I remember one time I was doing a live spirit board seance with the St. Louis Paranormal Research Society.
Okay.
And it was me and another person, and we were doing the board, but we were having a lot of trouble. Like it would kind of move and then it would just stop. It would like die
Oh,
and move and it stop. And so I was like, okay, because people can see the board. So
yeah.
they can see what moves. They can't see me having a conversation. But I was frustrated enough to say, like, okay, just tell me what you're trying to say.
Right.
And so when the voice came through, it was a man with a Russian accent.
Ooh.
So how is he going to spell out what he wants to tell me on my board?
Yeah, he's getting stumped.
He
Yeah.
can't. So yeah, it's really interesting. So somebody who's using the board, they might be experiencing things like that, but it depends on how you're able to communicate. I'm able to communicate, through the energy of thought, which has no language barrier. But
Okay.
an English board, has a language barrier.
Yeah. Have you tried the dice?
No, don't need to.
That's true. That's true. I just didn't know because with having the spirit board, it's another
It's another
communication,
tool.
another
Yeah,
communication
no,
tool.
I used pendulums and I've used spirit boards, but other than that, I'm just talk.
You yourself is the best tool ever.
Yeah, exactly. I am the tool, the medium. Yeah.
Understand? Okay. The comment in here is that we did, and it's the same person that I told you about. We lost Vinny.
Okay, yeah.
They're asking if he's around, if you are able to sense or see him.
So I will explain a little bit of my situation.
Okay.
And I have not done like professional or public seances for anyone like connecting with loved ones for a while.
Okay.
And the reason that is because I have so many spirits around me at all times.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
Right. So years previous, as I was kind of just like venturing out into doing like investigations and live seances and things like that, it was so easy. Immediately, I would feel a spirit enter and basically into my energy field.
Hmm.
And I would immediately know someone's here. It's like, oh, hello, who are you? Who is this? And now it's not like that because I am surrounded by spirits all the time. And a lot of times in videos I make just in my everyday life, like that I post to my social medias or whatever, there's spirits in them all over the place.
Oh, wow.
And that really is highlighting the fact of like, that's my everyday life is there's spirits around. So I can't just feel one presence when feel constant presence, if
Can
that makes
you?
sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Can you?
Yeah.
How do you shut them off? Like you
You
want like
can't.
this? You can't. So
No, there's no
no
off. Now
break.
I can kind of push it to the background a little bit,
Uh-huh.
but as soon as I want to tune in, then I can. Um, the other thing is because my specific abilities and purpose specifically have to do with demons, is that the spirits that are around me, most of them are bad ones.
Right.
And so I don't want to call anyone into this situation of like very powerful bad spirits. I
Yeah,
wouldn't want to do that to anyone.
that's understandable. I
Yeah.
mean, that's really, really kind of you. And
Well, and unfortunately, it's because I've already been through that. I've been through other people's spirit guides being destroyed.
mm,
Other people's loved ones have ventured in, or ghosts. There's lots of ghosts around me too,
right.
so, and there's not anything I can do for them, you know, at the moment, but um what I'm doing really is working specifically on that issue.
Okay.
because I disperse or destroy demons. That's like objective number one.
I got you.
Then I could get to other things. But yeah, I mean, it used to be like I would be driving and immediately I would feel like, oh, that house right there, that house
Oh
is
wow.
haunted. Like it would be that specific. I could feel it. But now I'm immersed in it all the time. Everywhere around me is haunted.
Oh wow.
If it's a place I'm in, it's haunted. There's something going on. So it's kind of frustrating in a
Mhm.
way, but it's also, I realize that, like, from the time that those abilities started like surfacing and opening up, I'm immediately thinking, how can I use them? How can I help people? I can help people connect and communicate and talk to their spirit guides and do all these things because I want to use those abilities and in order to help other people. But that doesn't
Okay.
necessarily mean that that is the purpose of those abilities. The purpose doesn't necessarily have to do with other people.
Hmm.
It's specifically like with spirits. So that's
So,
where I'm at.
what's your scariest moment in the paranormal of like, I guess
Yeah.
you're casting out, dispersing?
Yeah. So by the time I was able to disperse spirits, I've already like traveled a lot of ground, especially with demons. But earlier on, and I wasn't strong enough to do that yet. So like I was saying earlier, the first spirit I ever spoke to was a demon.
Yeah.
So coming into this ability, I already had a demon attachment. And what they're doing is they're feeding off of energy. So demons were at one time angels.
Yeah.
And what happens is angels are connected to what they call the divine light. And what that is a cord of energy that starts at the top of the head or like the crown, and it connects them to an eternal, everlasting source of energy. They call it the
Okay.
divine light. So when they do something bad, right, they commit crimes and they're caught, their punishment is that they're disconnected from that divine light.
Interesting.
So they no longer have that energy source. They're no longer connected to this eternal energy. So now what do they need to do is seek out energy. And that's why they feed off of people. They also feed off of ghosts, other spirits. You'll usually find them feeding off of ghosts in places where there's a large accumulation,
Hmm.
almost like a community. And places like um, prisons always have a large community of spirits.
Okay.
Cemeteries usually have a community of spirit. So it's almost like instead of being alone somewhere, there's a bunch of us. But when there's a lot, you'll find portals that demons
Hmm.
use, and then they'll feed off the energy of spirits there. But they also feed off of people,
Okay.
specifically people that can offer them more energy, which is like psychics.
Okay.
So if someone has psychic energy or you experience sleep paralysis, which is most likely a demon, then you're probably someone who has psychic abilities, whether you're aware of it or not.
Hmm.
So they're feeding.
So the energy is like their food to
Yeah.
keep them alive.
I don't know about to keep them alive, but I know their power, once they're disconnected from that divine light, their power dies down, almost like a light dims.
Yeah.
So as powerful as they once were, they no longer are, ever.
So
Now
they
that
kind of
doesn't mean
crave
that they're
that.
not powerful. They are. They are, but they're looking for a source of energy to feed off of. What's interesting about that is that some of them like different flavors. So some of them feed off of fear,
Oh,
some
okay.
of them feed off of lust.
Okay.
And so they can appear like if you happen to be somebody who can see a spirit, and they feed off of fear, they're going to appear very terrifying. They're going to be like a creature, a monster. That's not actually what they look like, right? But that's what they appear because now you're afraid and they feed off of the energy of that emotion of fear.
And you just help them get more power.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
and there's nothing you can do about it necessarily. It's not like anyone's fault that they're visited by a demon. It doesn't mean that they're doing something bad or wicked or anything like that.
Right.
Um, Now, the ones that feed off of lust, they can appear as something very beautiful.
To get you.
Right.
Okay. I get you.
Yeah. So, also a person's soul, the energy of a person's being, like who they are, has a flavor. And a lot of times when I would be doing personal readings for
Uh-huh.
people, and actually I say it's a personal reading because that's kind of what people understand, but really it's a seance. Everything I do is a seance. It's spirit
Right.
communication. But I'm talking to that person's spirit guide. So they're giving me direct answers about that person's lifetime and things like that. But one of the questions that I would always ask their spirit guide, because their spirit guide is connected to them, is what does that person's soul taste like? Just so they would have an understanding of like kind of who they are and
Yeah.
how they're perceived. And I've gotten answers like music and poetry, like
Oh wow.
flowers and candy, different things like that, like sorrow, because the soul, the energy of the soul has a flavor.
I did not know
So
that.
yes, exactly.
So, what does the actual demon look like?
What do they look like?
Yeah.
They're like a person, but you have to realize too that they were angels.
Yeah.
So if we think of like what an angel would look like, and they are a person. They have a body. It's a spirit body, not a flesh body. But yeah, they're a person. They're beautiful. Yeah, they're not creatures. They're not monsters, but they can appear to be that way.
That's all Hollywood.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, it's hard to communicate fear, you know what I mean? Fear though really is being powerless. What do you do? There's nowhere you can hide. There's no one that can help you.
Yeah.
If you don't have the power to defend yourself, that's fear, you know.
I got you.
But to translate that in a way that people can understand that kind of intensity, it has to look a certain way. We understand something visually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have um, anything you would like to tell any I guess you would say newbies that are like breaking in?
Um, that's a good question. I don't know what messages I have specifically, other than maybe if you are someone who's interested in paranormal or supernatural things, maybe you've had experiences of your own. If you're someone that has ever seen a spirit or maybe felt a presence or things like that, then you are someone that has psychic abilities. So that's not just something that anyone can see or hear or feel. It means you're more sensitive to energy. And if that is the case, then I would recommend that you pursue what that means for your life and for yourself. I think one of the hardest things for myself is learning to trust your own abilities.
Okay.
I think that's probably one of the most difficult for anyone who experiences, psychic abilities.
Right. So I seen this once on on TikTok. A paranormal group was talking about it. Why is it that we always see like mediums and the people that do see ghosts and whatnot? They're always from the 1700s and etc. And
You know,
never the 90s kid.
I don't know. Like I've seen a lot of more recent spirits than
Okay.
that. A lot of the investigations that I've done have been in kind of like like bad areas of town where there might be a lot of drug or gang activities, and a lot of spirits have been like, they died of a drug overdose in an abandoned house.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's not the case. They're not always from the 1700s. But, there's kind of this thing that I call like the storytellers
Mm-hmm.
for the tourists. And they're usually, the ones that run like these haunted attractions. Like it's this haunted mansion from the 1800s, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
really they're selling like a story. It has to be connected to the history of this house,
I
and
got
they died tragically, and you know what I mean? Because most people um aren't going to know the difference. They
yeah.
don't see spirits, they don't feel spirits. So they're really kind of like being sold the story. So the storytellers for the tourists, right?
Okay.
But a lot of times when I go into these places, and sometimes they actually are haunted, the story is different than what's being told. And what makes a ghost has nothing to do with how they died.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with like a strange or violent death. They're not looking for revenge. They're not. It's kind of, I will say, it's kind of maybe an unfinished business, you might say. Uh, but what makes a ghost is that when someone dies, their
Mm-hmm.
soul is now released from this flesh cage, and they will have a door that opens, and that door is a portal.
Okay.
Okay. So that portal is their way home. And if they choose not to go through it, the door closes and now they're stuck. So that's how ghost becomes a ghost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because I think it would be really. I mean, if I was able to see it, be able to see a ghost or whatever, I think it'd be really cool to see like the whole '90s kid. You got the cargo pants and the flip flops or whatever. It'd just be kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, I've seen older than that, even than like the typical 1800s that you might think of. Where
Hmm.
I live in Illinois, there are a couple like large um, sites that were like Native American sites. One of
Hmm.
them is the Cahokia Mounds, and the other one is the Piasaw Caves in Alton. Both of those places had a large community of Native American
Oh, wow.
spirits. So we're talking like, and that's definitely on the list of some of my strangest experiences. But yeah, a lot older than 1800s.
My apologies. My dog's like to be stupid. I
Oh,
apologize.
gotcha.
So, how was that with the Native American that you seen?
Strange.
Was it?
Yeah, because so for instance, at the Cahokia Mounds, there were so many spirits there, thousands, thousands. And there were so many because they're a community. So when someone dies and then their soul is no longer attached to the flesh, they're able to see all the other spirits around. So instead of going into an unknown place, they chose to stay where they could see other people that they had known before. Um, they also spoke very strangely, differently than anything else I've experienced before. So it was a very unusual experience.
Oh, wow. Give me one tiny second if you don't
Sure.
mind. I'm going to see if there's someone at the door real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So, do you have any other interesting stories to tell us?
Um, I can tell you one other pretty interesting story was one of the places that I did an investigation on, and this was quite some years ago.
Okay.
So I wasn't able, before I was able to disperse demons or spirits, but
Right.
specifically bad ones. Um, the way I cross over ghosts and send human souls home, I was able to send demons to the abyss.
Hmm.
So again, it's another portal, another doorway, just different one, right? So I wasn't strong enough yet at that time to actually disperse energy, but I could send them to the abyss. Anyway, one of the investigations that I did is in a place uh, locally where I live in East St. Louis, which is not a very good part of town. It's known as like the murder capital of the United States.
Oh, wow.
So there is a park called Frank Holton State Park. It's actually close to a prison.
Hmm.
Um, but it has been known for decades as a body dump
Okay.
for like gang, drug, whatever, it's a body dump.
Oh,
So
wow.
I went there with someone from the St. Louis Paranormal Research Society. We did a live investigation, and um, I can immediately feel spirits, so I'm like, okay, cool, this place is haunted. This will be
Hmm.
interesting, right? Um, I was talking, I always introduce myself. Hello, my name is Rachel. I usually will say something like, I'm here to help you. I'm going to send you home. Would you speak with me for a while first? Is that okay? Or does anyone want to talk to me?
Right.
And it was a man's voice. He said, you know, I, s- I said, oh, you're male. What's your name? And he didn't answer me. And so I was like, hello, are you still there? It was weird, like weird hesitation. And I said, um, are you afraid? Because it was like weird. I didn't know if he was afraid of me or like what. And
Hmm.
he said, yes, we're all afraid. And I said, who? Because I'm thinking, like, is there a person with a gun here? He said, like a physical, human, whatever.
Right.
And he is, I said, who are you afraid of? And he said, the outsiders. And so I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Who are the outsiders? So then another voice came in and said, we're the outsiders and will not allow you to speak to them.
Oh, wow.
So basically, what happened is there were quite a few spirits there. So I would
Hmm.
call it like a community of spirits. And it was one of those places that demons have portals come through to feed off of the energy of like the large population of
Right.
human souls that are there. They called themselves the outsiders. They're like a little cluster, like a gang of demons.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, I am out of my depth at this point. Like I said, it was earlier on. I, wasn't able to even send demons to the abyss yet. So I really didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, so I'm going to cross over some spirits and then we got to go. But they said, we will not allow you to take them from us. They belong
Ooh.
to us. They're ours to feed on. Like it was a whole thing. And I was like, okay, we got to go. We have got to go. Um, but I left that place with 7 demon attachments.
Oh, uh,
And I lived with them with that, whatever you can imagine that experience might bring
right.
for quite some time. I would probably say 6 to 8 months before in that interim, I'm still crossing spirits over like ghosts. I'm sending
Uh,
ghosts home, sending lots of ghosts home, thousands of ghosts home, and eventually, because psychic abilities are really like a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it will be. So I was eventually able to then send to open that portal to the abyss to send
okay.
those demons away. But for quite some time, I had that experience, and in that amount of time, I experience what it was like for them to attempt to possess me. They couldn't do it. You know, it never
Right.
happened. But it was like energy here in the pit of my stomach, but it was like struggling and fighting.
Oh,
It kind
wow.
of like moved its way up and then it kind of came out like this. At the time, I asked my guide, why does it feel like there's something pouring out of my mouth? And
Yeah.
she said, because it is, don't try and stop it. So then I understood that that's kind of what it was and what they were trying to do.
So is it like smoke in a way?
To me, it looked like black smoke. I don't necessarily know that it was black, you know, would have
Yeah.
looked black, but in the way that I saw it, like I can kind of see things by
Right.
energy, almost kind of like a heat vision.
Okay.
But yeah, it looked black to me, which is interesting now, you know, further along in the journey that I'm at and I'm able to disperse spirits. I can see spirits and the bad ones are black. So
That's understandable.
yeah.
So you mentioned St. Louis. Would that be St. Louis, Missouri?
Yes.
I figured. I was born and raised in Joplin, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, me and my wife, we survived the big bad tornado that happened there.
Yeah. Yeah. Those towns seem to get hit a lot more than like the city area does.
Yeah. Yeah. Joplin got hit. It was 4 tornadoes into one.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense, but it's okay. We're good. We're here. We're more
Good.
safe.
It's
And then,
safe in Florida
yes, and then I moved to Florida because
where you get hurricanes.
because hurricanes, I get a week notice to leave, and if I stay, it's my stupid fault.
Yeah.
So you have a person that has said hello. I will bring them up.
Okay. I
I
can't
don't.
see who it is.
It is a Mike Cross.
Okay.
They said hello to you.
Okay. Hello.
um, really, I mean, everything is just fascinating, and I mean, I just don't know
Yes.
what next to ask.
I was gonna say you had said to me earlier that you had questions about like the other side, like
Mhm.
what it is, what's next, what's out there.
Right.
Do you have like specific questions about? Because I could just spew out all kinds of things.
Um, I really want to know. Am I want to know if I'm going to learn more. I know that because I feel like with being a Libra, I'm always trying to balance my scale,
Yeah.
but I do want to know like what is on the other side. Like, is my friend that just passed away, or my loved ones that have recently passed away and stuff like that, are they safe?
Yeah.
I mean,
So yes. So I'll explain it. The other side, or like when I send ghosts home, let's
mhm,
say, and I open that doorway, and that's a portal. That portal is to a different dimension.
okay,
So where we're at now, which is Earth, is the third dimension.
okay,
Home for human souls, okay, and also for angels is the same dimension, and it's the fifth dimension.
okay,
So that's home. So your friends that you know, the connections that you make in this lifetime, when they end their lifetime, they go home, right?
gotcha.
Home, it isn't the same sort of struggles that we have here, you know, because here we have to think about like a physical body.
Yeah,
We need to feed it. We need to, you know, give it a home and things like that. We're sent here in that physical form in order to experience those struggles, because those struggles are lessons, they're things to overcome, and they, you know, over time build our character. You know, it's like we earn merits as a soul. No one understands forgiveness unless they've been betrayed.
I get you. Okay.
right? And so we're here to experience those things. All lessons pretty much are unpleasant things, they're struggles. But when someone ends that lifetime, I say it's like coming to school. So it's almost like you graduate for that year and
Okay.
then, you don't go to school for a while, but they go home. The home is they don't have worries and struggles. They don't have health problems. They don't have age-related problems, so they're in a much better place than where we are.
I got you.
Technically, we don't really want to be here and do
Yeah.
this thing, but here we are. you know. So their home, yeah, is a different place. And if you think about like what we're doing in these lifetimes and who you are
Mm-hmm.
in these lifetimes, really you are like the dream. It's kind of like a dream, or the person outside of the dream is the real you. You're just the dream. Or I say in terms of like if you're playing a video game,
Mm-hmm.
like if you're going to sit down and play a video game, in the game, you're playing a character,
Yeah.
an avatar, and that character has a mission. And in order to fulfill that mission, they have like side quests and they have to make connections and meet certain people to learn certain information. They need to gain the experience, right? And then if you aren't that skilled yet and the character dies, no big deal. You just hit reset, right? That's
Right.
kind of how the lifetimes work. You are not the character in the video game. You're the person outside of it playing the video game.
I get you. Understand
And so a
that.
lifetime is kind of like, you're on a level in a video game.
So do you believe that the loved ones can communicate with you? Like,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. And they'll do that in any way that you are capable of interpreting that energy. So in other words, if you're someone that can see spirits, they'll show up. If you're someone that can feel the presence of spirits, they'll be
Uh-huh.
around to where you can feel them. Now, if you don't have those things, sometimes it's clairvoyant dreams. They're able to communicate with you in your dreams. If you don't have that, they'll find other ways. Maybe it's a song. Maybe it is like, it can be, they'll use any kind of thing, anything that means something to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, in a way, I can see that because you could also say smells.
Smells,
Because
shaving cream, perfume, all
my
those things.
my dad was a chain smoker, and it'll be his second year passing this September. And
Yeah.
certain spots of our apartment, he's never seen nor been in this apartment, but
Uh-huh.
I still have his ashes with us.
Yeah,
And in certain parts, I'll smell very heavy cigarette smoke, and neither one
that's
of us smoke.
exactly it. That's exactly it.
Okay.
Because whenever you smell cigarette smoke, who do you think of?
Yeah, I think of my dad.
Right. And so they're going to communicate with you in any way that you can understand it. It's not like, it's only specific ways. It's going to be different for everyone because
Mhm.
everyone's, thoughts are different about how they, what will make them think of that person. So yes, that's exactly how they do it.
All right.
Exactly right.
Well, Miss Rachel, it has been wonderful having you, and I will definitely love to have you back. Hopefully, we can get a better connection for Nicole, and so she can ask her questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I guess we're going to. I'm going to go ahead and end it today. It's
Okay.
almost 3 minutes till 8:00. Might as well. You have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Come on in, don't lock that door. One more tale and we ask for more. The many, many show. The many